So if you recently picked up the Sony FX6, probably like me, you were overwhelmed with the amount of buttons that are on this camera. Now, after using this camera for over a year and a half, doing commercials for Toyota, Samsung, and many more, I want to share with you what I like to call the Sony FX6 Holy Grail custom button settings. So go grab your FX6 and follow along with me. Now I'm assuming you're using Cine AI mode, and I want to start with our top handle. So we're gonna get buttons 7 and 8 dialed in. Go to the long menu, scroll down to the project tab that looks like a slate, and then after that, we're gonna head down to assignable buttons and hop over to the right. We're gonna go down to button number 7, and then we're gonna set that to base ISO/sensitivity. What this is going to allow us to do is toggle between the FX6's native ISOs, which is 800 and 12,800 with the press of a button. We don't have to go into the long or quick menu. We don't have to waste any more time. We could even toggle between them while we're rolling tape still. Since we got button number 7 set up, let's go to button number 8. Same thing, assignable button menu in the project tab, but we're gonna go down one to number 8. And what I like to set that up with is focus setting. Now, the type of focus I like to use with the Sony cameras for the past 6 years is zone autofocus, because for me and my experience, wide sometimes likes to focus on anything and everything besides what I want it focusing on, and flexible spot, moving the window around with the joystick, it's taking up too much time, and zone seems to work primo for me. It has been for the past 6 years. One thing I've noticed, however, is that unlike the S3, the A7 III, even the FX3 that I'm filming on right now, it was a little confusing on how to move this window around without having to deep dive into the settings every time. So that's what we're going to be setting up, button number 8, to allow us to move that focus window. Now, when we press that button, it's gonna go from black to yellow, that focus window, and now we can use the joystick just below the number 8 button and move it around. Now, it can get messed up or moved around if you were to use the joystick for any other reason, so all we have to do now, tap number 8 again, and that will lock it into the specific zone on your screen that you want that window to live in. Super easy, right? Now, we're gonna do one more thing on the top handle, but it also includes the side handle before I get to those side handle custom settings. So what we want to do is go back into the long menu, but instead of that project tab, we're gonna go to the first one, which is the user, and then scroll down to zoom. Some of you might already have this set up, some of you may not, but on zoom, make sure clear image zoom is selected. What that allows us to do is get up to 1.5 crop or punch in without giving up any resolution. A cool thing you could also do in the menus is set 2 different rates to those rocker switches, because now that we enabled clear image zoom, the rocker on your side and top handle automatically, without having to set anything up, now will zoom in. Now, some cool features about this is you could set up 2 different custom rates for how fast they zoom. You could even see how much zoom you're using with the clear image zoom in the top left corner of your Sony monitor. All right, so now that the top handle is set up, let's head over to the side handle. Once again, starting with button number 5, we want to hop into that long menu, go down to the project tab, and go to assignable buttons, and we're going to set up button number 5. Now, for button number 5, I have set up for face and eye detection. What this allows you to do is by pressing number 5, you could cycle through those different features, whether it's looking for an eye or face to pick up, whether it's only focusing on the face or the eye, or if you want it off. Sometimes using the Sony cameras, as great as the eye autofocus could be, it might think something twinkling in the background, say, is an eye, and it'll have that square stuck right on there. Once again, I don't want to be hopping into the menu trying to find out how to turn it off where it's at. By pressing that button right with your thumb, now you could just toggle it off, or you could toggle it back on. So that's button number 5. Number 4, I leave as is. That's the focus magnifier. When I'm shooting on manual lenses and I want to punch in to make sure I'm tack sharp, even though I'm using focus peaking, it's a nice feature to have. Number 6 on the bottom. I have that set to touch sensitivity. I'll be tracking shots, I'll be pulling focus using the screen, but I don't always want it on because if I'm holding the top and my wrist maybe hits the screen somehow, I don't want to deal with that. So I like having number 6, which is this button underneath here for your middle finger. I like having that option to toggle the touch operation on and off. Super easy. Now there's 2 more buttons and custom settings for them that I want to go over with, and that's 2 and 3. Number 1, I keep S and Q. I shoot a lot of different time lapses, and occasionally I want to capture in-camera slow motion, so that's staying where it's at. Now for number 2, we're gonna set that up for autofocus speed and sensitivity. There's a ton of videos on YouTube about how those 2 settings work and how each lens reacts differently. Lastly is button number 3, and that is going to be the volume controls for the headphones. There's many times where I want to hear it louder, softer, and I just want to be able to adjust it on the fly. I don't want to have to go into this dreaded menu ever. So that's how I have my button number 3. Now the rest of the buttons, you can adjust some of them, but they all have a specific feature, and I really think as overwhelming as it is, when you get comfortable knowing which each button does, you're gonna be overall more comfortable with the Sony FX6. So let me know in the comments what you guys are setting up for your custom settings. Let me know how you like my custom settings. And if you want to, I can make one on the FX3 that I'm filming on for you guys right now in the future. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps out the channel now that I'm getting it back to consistent content. And as always, guys, I'm Jason Anthony. Peace out.